Okay. Now we have a presentation. Management presentation to council on the 5-month update. And am I safe to turn it over?
You're safe.
Okay.
So we'd like to thank council for giving us the opportunity to come and speak to you. We thought we'd do it a little different this time and stay away from the numbers, because I know how much you guys like the numbers. So it's just a 5-month update. We're calling it midterm because we didn't want to wait till the end of June, because then everybody's on vacation. So we thought we'd come and speak to you now. So if you look at it, our operations, we've got 58.3% remaining. That's 7 months out of 12. Operations is tracking very, very well. The managers are doing a really good job. So we're really not going to speak too much about the general operations. We're mostly going to focus on the budget highlights, all those things that we've been discussing, and we're going to talk a little bit about capital planning. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Hal.
How come I'm always first?
Because you're special.
Thank you. And I kind of treat this as kind of a report card. Now, when I first came to you, 6 months ago, I was new, I was green. I had to learn what it is exactly was expected of me and my troops. So I'm very proud now to do a little bit of bragging that's going on, but also tell you what's left to come and what we have to do throughout the year. So if I could start with the first slide. Now, one of the first things that I received when I got here was a report about the alleys, and I went out and checked the alleys, and I found them to be in a really, really bad shape. Now, this wasn't on our priorities, but the number of calls that were coming in about the potholes in our alleys. So I talked to our roads coordinator, Dave Reed, and I said, "Can we do something?" And he said, "Well, yeah, we haven't done anything in a while. We've got lots of other stuff to do." But so what we did, of course, is we brought in our own material and. First of all, graded out all and I don't know if this is only on the west end of town, Riverside, we did completely. And then a little bit down to the center of town, and now they've stopped because we've got lots of other stuff that we're doing out there. We'd like to pick this up maybe later on in the year and head out east, or maybe pick it out next year so that we can complete the task. But if you haven't, drive down the back alleys in Riverside and a little bit to the center of town here from the east end, and you'll see that all of them have been resurfaced here, and then also dust control added to it. So,
did you do the one up? Where the cow path used to be, and there's that road or alleyway there.
The one way over behind the dike on Riverside?
No, behind the Humanities for Habitat.
Habitat for Humanity's new building? Habitat for Humanity. You said downtown area.
Yeah, I don't think we got that far.
Oh, okay. Because it's really bad.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Big holes.
Okay.
And it's.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's the one way between 8th and 9th Street.
There was one apartment even further than that area that I went and looked, and I actually drove my city truck down it, and it boom, 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 and I got the guys out that afternoon. I said, "Well, do it, right?" So. This is just one of the areas that we didn't budget for, we didn't plan, but it was just a repeat thing that would continue to come on, and it really turned out good. I got a lot of, the city crews got a lot of good thanks for doing this, and we will continue doing that, but it's going to take some time. We'll find the time. And this is another project that we're helping out a couple of things here. This is Dale's firefighting area up by the airport there. And so we had material that actually came from the digging of the lift station here. It all went piled up there, and there was a lot of heavy rock and everything. So what they do is they, with this sifter machine, they'll take the aggregate that's down here, they'll put it in the top, and of course they'll get this pile here is the finer grinds that they can use for construction that actually you see piled up now back at the lift station to do some help with some landscaping and everything in there. So they're creating flat land so that Dale has a spot for a new place for his team to practice on since they've been displaced. And we're also doing some inventory management on the material that we have and we can reuse in other places throughout the city. Okay. And when I first talked 5 months ago, we had problems with spring runoff and the thaws that happened throughout the winter and everything. And there was puddles here and puddles there. Well, this is a I'm forgetting the terminology. Catch basin that actually was there but had faulted. We also had broken piping here that the catch basin would let the sediment settle down the bottom and the fluid would go across the street, but it wasn't allowed to do that. So they had to dig up the street and put in a new one. And of course, this is right beside James Donaldson Park there. And so that one is done. And we have enough budget, I think, to do half a dozen of these throughout town. This is the only one that we've done, and we've got other priorities in town. There's another one across Central Avenue.
Right across the street.
There's a swimming pool right beside the swimming pool, right? So that's one we're going to do there. And we're trying to pick the high priority areas that we do this in. And I think that's, coming here and seeing the spring runoff, it's quite an issue. And, for about a 6-week period there, I'm flooded with calls on this type of concern. So I'm looking forward to next year not being quite as much, and the following year to be even less than that and going forward. So they're doing good stuff in that area. Yeah. And of course, this is another thing that we do is our paving contracts that come up through the year. We actually got an additional $50,000 this year. We have spent basically all the regular year stuff, $25,000, whatever, that we get every year on that. We've got another $50,000 to go. This particular one, I was kind of impressed here because this is down in Johnson Flats, and from here to here was the only lane, and it's a traffic going both ways. This is a 90-degree corner right here, and so there's lots of head-on possibilities that are going there. So what they did was they stretched out, and our guys come in and they do the prep work. And this is the type of stuff that we do the sifting to get the extra material for. And we save a lot of money having our guys come and do the prep work. And then we get the paving contractors. I think these ones are coming from Castlegar area. Nelson as well. So every month, they pick a good day, they come over and they say, we're coming over this time. Our guys will prep all the roads for this, what they can do in a day or 2 days or whatever. And it's amazing. They work from sun up to sundown, and they get quite a bit of the town fixed up that way. So again, we've got quite a bit more to do in the city, and we have to kind of coordinate with the multi-utility program. So we don't want to be doing a road twice. Okay. So in this area, this was really needed because there's a potential for accidents in here, and we fix that up. But you'll see other areas that we're doing service connections and everything to put in new sewers and everything, and that has to be passed. We try and coincide that when these guys come into town. Question?
I was just wondering, because that actually runs through Tony's land, right?
Yeah.
So has there been some sort of work done with figure whatever that out is with him?
That question came to me, and what I understand is the landowner, I didn't know Tony.
Yeah.
Okay. This hasn't been a concern of his for however long he's lived there.
Right. But an agreement has never been sealed between the city
and I made the command decision that this is a high traffic concern area, high collision area. Let's do it, right? Because
where are they batching
for the
asphalt?
I'm not sure whether they bring it with them, and I'm not sure. I don't think it's local.
I believe they transport it from Nelson, just outside of Nelson.
Selkirk's been firing up.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
their
I've seen
stuff.
them,
Yeah.
I was just curious because we've had complaints about the batching so often when they're mixing their asphalt.
Oh, I see. Or the odor and everything.
Yeah, but I haven't heard anything about this.
Yeah, so it's coming from out of town. Okay. And this is a combination, obviously, minor puddle. You'd lose a small car in that one, and also the shouldering repairs, okay, at the same time. And as reported, 5 months ago, I said we do this. Didn't know how we really did it, but I've experienced them doing it, and they really take pride in what they do and do a good job. It's tough all year long because these potholes, you know, in the conditions of the roads that they're in, they appear throughout the year. So we're constantly jumping from one to another and trying to be consistent in what we do, and you know, trying to keep the roads from failing all over. It's a task. And this one is, of course, the campground upgrades that have just gone on. You know, we had a look at this. We talked to a few councillors, and it really was not a real good selling point for the city of Grand Forks. So myself, the guys were very interested in putting efforts towards this. We had a plan that was grand. Okay, we scaled it down, and we've had some savings on a contract with contracting out our line painting that we're able to pay for this. So this was creative financing, if you will, to find some cash that we didn't have before because it wasn't budgeted for. But I think it really makes a difference down there. And I've noticed that people, I've seen more people utilizing the campground now than they have been, and I hope this to increase. You can go to the next one if you will. Okay, and that kind of showed you, this was shortly after we had just done it. We had the campground half full, and it wasn't even in the heavy season. But we still have a lot of work with the leveling of the sites, you know, and also getting rid of the weeds, figuring out what to do between the sites, and maybe adding some flowers to every second one of these, you know, as an upgrade going forward. We do offer Wi-Fi internet, but it only reaches to about the first 2 stalls. So we're making steps towards having that stretched out over the wires that overhead in there, so that we can get full coverage for the campground. We'd like to offer this to everybody that goes in there. And I think there's one more slide. Okay, no, but anyway, it was. I'm proud of it, and the guys are very proud of it, and it really has dressed it up a lot. Has everybody seen it? That down there? Okay. This was another one. This was one of our projects that had to be done. This was the chlorine contact chamber. Okay, and you'll see the sandbag in here. This is how they kept the freshet from climbing over and deteriorating or diluting, and have the sewage that's in here spill over and then drain into the river. Okay, so what we did was we had a contract come in there. We had $25,000 to spend on there. We ended up coming out with about $17,000 to have this all done. If we go back a slide, can we go back a slide? What I'm hoping to do is save a bit more money, because also you notice this right here, and also around the building here. Okay, now we've done good getting this up professionally, and water's not going to come over in high water, okay? But we've done nothing about the high water getting into the chlorine building itself, and that's a risk. So I'm hoping we have a water line that I'm going to talk about in just a second, that we're bringing in, because we're actually getting water, I think, from Roxall next door with an overland hose outside their outside tap. And so we've got budgeted $25,000 to bring another water line underground into here from 2nd Street. Okay, so if I can save some money on that, I'm hoping to go out and get a contract and finish off the job properly, so that we bring up the walls the same height here around the building and then ramp in. Question?
The slide on the left here, is that essentially what's been done in years past during high water? It seems very labor intensive.
It was.
Yeah. This
like it kind of seems like it would pay for itself.
And the next slide. And the following slide. Okay, so there's your finished product. So a lot less labor intensive.
Sure.
So the sandbags we split and actually put it in for backfill. So that's the last of the sandbags in that area, and we hope maybe this year we'll finish off the other one. Okay, and now this is part of the report card. You know, that was the good. Here's the bad. This is what's got to come. Okay. Now we also, along with the paving, we've got another $50,000 that you know how bad the sidewalks are in town. You know, it's it's no secret. And so what we're doing is we're assessing the sidewalks and making sure that we're doing the worst first. and also that we're not going to double on the combo utility program, right? So we have to go through that, and we're going to do it on the shoulder season before freeze. We're going to, and it won't take any time to finish that off. But there's one spot right now on 2nd Street and Central Avenue that the business there that's dressing up there on the corner there, they've just painted the building and the facade around there. The sidewalk at the corner has slumped right down, and our street water is pouring into their foundation. So that's a high priority there. And we look at other places like 75 Street. 3 great big 60-year-old trees going through and brought the sidewalks up, and there's no more sidewalks. So we're wrestling with those. Road paving, I mentioned about the $50,000 still to spend. We'll have no trouble in spending that. And the cemetery grave restoration, we had promised to do 1/3. We're still going to do that, but we're going to wait until the busy, July, 1st of August is done and get on that right away. We've done a couple of grave sites right now, just testing out what's the best sub-material that we're going to use, and how we're going to do it properly and cleanly and respectfully in the cemetery. But we will have over 100 of them done by the end of our construction season here. And so we've got 330 to do approximately. We're going to do that over 3 years. Scout Hall, we have a quote. We have one quote to paint it, and it's $4,000. We've been having trouble over finding anybody else to even side, give us a quote on siding or anything like that. And any suggestions on that, I appreciate. The one suggestion we got, we went to the guy and says, I'm too old to do it anymore. But we'll either paint it or get it sided this year if that's the will of council. James Johnson Infield Council had awarded them $17,000 for that. We can't do that until after the date, right? Because we can't have it raw before the event. It's got to be solid and trimmed up, and then right afterwards we'll get the work done on James Johnson.
No, that's good.
And if you've been down Riverside, you'll have seen that Byran washrooms were well on the way to having that done. We should be finished by the end of the week. This last storm that we had, it put us behind the game a bit. And so we've got Byran washrooms just to pull in. We've got the services and a new water line already put in on 82nd. So that's already done. And we're going to tail off of that to pull into Byran. And those washrooms should be up and able to go by the end of this week.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Any questions at all? No? Good.
Oh, actually, I have one question.
Sure.
How many unpaved streets are there in Grand Forks?
Oh, got me on the spot. Streets.
Yeah, like real streets.
I mean, there's
Are there a lot of them, or just a
I'll
couple?
tell you, from what I've seen, there's a lot of streets that are paved that really aren't. You can't call them paved, right? But I don't know how many gravel, unsurfaced roads there are. I could ask and see if I could get that.
It's roughly half a dozen.
Half a dozen.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're very low usage.
Yeah. Not very much.
But the street that I'm staying with the in-laws, 6th Street, you can't call that paved. In fact, the neighbors, we had set up for one of the residents down there that had an alley. They paid $4,000 themselves to have their alley paved so that they can go back, because it's the only entrance into their garage off the side and to the front of their house. So our contractors were put in touch with them, and they paid cash $4,000 to have their alley paved. And if you take a look at that just off of 6th Street, up just at the base of the mountain, you'll see that, wow, compared to the street, we have this. So hopefully within years we're going to make that look like that.
Are you done? Good job. That's awesome. Okay.
Where's your pointer?
Wait, yeah, I don't get a pointer. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, got my finger. Okay, just a quick introduction. This is our group of dedicated and very committed volunteers. And for anyone who thinks that we took time during the Grand Forks fire to have a little photo op, that was just imposed on the back by one of our volunteers. Okay, we've responded to 117 calls so far this year. 78 are fire-related, 14 rescue, and 25 first responder calls. And some of our challenging calls this year, we had a major grass fire season this year, and I believe Mayor Taylor maybe witnessed one of them.
You were excellent. It was like ballet.
There you go. Yeah, our largest one was 36 acres. That was up Brown Creek Road, Brown Creek East, up in that area. And we had 8 acres, 5 acres. At one point we had 8 grass fire calls in 10 days. And so the guys were running pretty hard. Okay, the flood season, as obviously as everyone's seen, we didn't get into a major flood season this year. Water did get in the park early. That was back in the start of April. And it's continued high throughout, which has been really good for us. And we will not be flooding this year. You're going to see the river go a little bit up and down like it has been, but there will be no flooding this year. But the start of April kept us fairly busy for a week or so there when we got that hot stretch. This is a fire at the Inner Four sawmill. Their sawdust bin caught fire up the top. We worked there for I think 2 or 3 hours on this one. It was inside the bin. We ended up having to have some guys climb up on the top of the bin and do some work up in the top, as well as we had a couple engines pouring water on from the outside. Okay, we'll try and see if this one works. Okay, this is the video of this was at 3:47 a.m. on the Grand Forks Hotel fire. No, yeah, it was pretty dark. We had all the power cut by this point. This is when it first broke through the roof at the Grand Forks Hotel. No. Yeah. And that was lights up top or from our ladder truck or aerial. Just putting water there, as well as we had one adjacent putting water on and another one at the corner of 2nd Street and Highway 3.
So how long was your crew there?
Some of the crew was there almost as long as I was, which would have been around 17 hours. And then some of them had to leave. They had to go to work. And then they came back after work because we had some major cleanup to do after that call. And then the next day also was dealing with hot spots and our investigation the next 2 days.
Nobody was injured.
So no one's injured. Everyone did very well. And as everybody does know, that we had the Winnipeg Hotel fire at the same time, which created somewhat of a challenge, splitting crews and equipment and stuff to go to both fires. And both fires, the crew did a fantastic job. We got lots of good comments from the local staff sergeant, from the investigator for the Office of Fire Commissioner, the private investigator, all very good comments, and especially the save on the Grand Forks Hotel fire, or the Winnipeg Hotel fire. So that was good. It was great kudos for the guys. Yeah. Of course, we're always active in training, and constant training throughout the year. This year we put 12 new members through auto extrication training, as well as a bunch of our guys jumped in for review type stuff. Sprinkler Protection Unit S115, we put 4 members in, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Okanagan Volunteer Spring Training, which we held here last year. We sent 9 members to that this year. In my opinion, it's one of the best basic training for all our volunteers around.
Where was it this year?
It was in Oliver this year. Yeah. And then we sent two of our captains to the B.C. Fire Training Officers Association seminar. It's a 4 or 5 day seminar, and it was down in Richmond this year. And this is just a picture of the auto extrication. This is one of our mainstays of our rescue and highway rescue. We train in it constantly, and when the need arises out in the streets and the highways, our guys are ready to go. The Sprinkler Protection Unit S115 training. This picture's of the trailer. It's regional district trailer. They have 2 trailers. We keep one in one of our row halls out here for this side of the mountain. Trail Fire Department has one in their hall. And what these are for is in the event that we had a urban interface wildland fire, and we needed a good example would be say Copper Ridge, and we needed to protect some homes. We have enough equipment in each one of these trailers to protect about 28 homes. So on, and we had I believe 6 or 8 guys last year that certified in it. We had another 4 that certified in it this year, and we did host the training session here this year. Okay, the fire training ground, we're just getting going on the training ground. We put together a committee to kind of do a layout for us, and as soon as they're done that, we'll get working on getting this training ground put together so we can get our guys training there. And this is right over the airport.
To the north? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Piece of property where they're doing the...
Right, it's right next to Unipel.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just east, the next
East of
property east of Unipel. Yeah. As some of you may be aware, we're due for replacement. Our 1992 ladder is due for replacement in 2013. And in the consultant's report given to the regional district last year, the recommendation, and I agree with the recommendation, is to purchase a 100-foot platform ladder truck. And we had one here, I think last week. Yeah, last week we had it here. We took it out, had a good look at it, took it to a few areas around town to try and see if that's the size and the length that is beneficial for us. And this is the shot on the right here is on 68th Street at the Green Apartments there, right across from Bryson Place. And with the reach of it, we were able to reach over top of that apartment from the street, which we can't do with our piece of equipment right now. And the reason for 100-foot isn't as much for height. Everyone thinks, why do you need something to go 100 feet high? It's the reach. It's not the height. One of my little bit of a concern for me is the new development that's being put up right now, the assisted living development, and that's a big development. And when it's all said and done and all the landscaping and everything's in place, there will be a little bit of a concern with regard to reaching in to that building in the event that there's an issue and we need to do some rescue. And with our current ladder truck right now, we couldn't get close.
What's the length of the ladder on it?
Right now it's 50 feet.
Oh, so you'll be able to...
Yeah, and so we wouldn't be able to get close. And I know in the front, I've seen the design from the front. They'll have a big landscaped area in the front there, so we won't be able to get close to the front. In the back, the same thing. So we won't be able to get real close in the back. I have asked for access to the back of that facility in the event that something does happen, and they are going to put gates in the back for us. But this is one of my concerns is with regard to the reach to get there, to provide proper protection.
How many stories is their building?
There's a three-story building. It looks a little bit taller because of the roof configuration on it. It's not a flat roof. It's a pitched roof, right? But like I say, because of the size of the facility, it's the footprint of the facility. And the footprint is what tells the tale. And that's the one where you need the reach. And an exact same thing for the rock salt complex now that they've bought Canpar. And, that has become a pretty big industry out there now. And for the same reason, we need the reach to provide proper protection out there.
Dale, could you point out that the 15 years thing, the life of a...
yeah, okay. The life frontline pumper, fire underwriters, their regulations say a frontline pumper, the life of frontline pumper is 15 years to provide ultimate fire protection, to keep your fire grade rating high. And after 15 years, you need to replace it with another frontline pumper. If you don't replace it, then your fire grade rating most likely will drop in the town, which means all the residents in the community will pay more for fire insurance.
So that means our truck that's 1992 is is over. It's like
Well,
it's
what's happening right
extended to
now
20
is
years.
it's 20 years old. We have a 1997 pumper in there right now.
Oh, okay. The company.
That's providing our frontline coverage for
Okay.
us. Part of the reason when we replace the ladder will be that will become our frontline pumper,
Okay.
and that will continue to provide the coverage for us because our 97 will be past the 15-year mark, but we can still keep it and run it as a second line pumper for another 5+ years before we need to replace that one. So, and that's kind of part of the reason for the whole thing, so that we're not at every 15 years with every truck, we're not just bailing them off and buying a new one. It wouldn't be cost effective. This way, is if we rotate the frontline pumper thing, we can get more life out of our trucks.
Do you see a lot of upgrades or in technology with these?
With the trucks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
These trucks, most of these trucks now, tons of electronics on them, right? And, lots of stuff is push button. And, in the old days, things were levers. Now they're all push button.
So is it less manual for the
For sure.
firefighters?
Less manual.
That's good to know.
Setups like on this truck here, it automatically, you push the automatic button. All the outriggers and stuff, it automatically sets up for you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can attest to the fact that, because we got to write on it, that the dampening, the dampening of the rocking, like when you're moving a ladder like that large, on a typical, even our regular ladder, you get the bounce,
Yeah, you get lots of
which
stuff.
is kind of you could be unsafe. But when you get to 100 feet, holy, it could be wham, wham, wham. But it's got like a dampening thing in
Like
there,
a
so
ballast
that
thing or something.
yeah, and it just you could have a full cup of coffee in one spill, and you just go up and down and around. It was awesome.
Are there coffee holders on it?
Yes, I think we should have that.
We could probably get them for an option.
2 questions. What is one of those worth? And the second, do we as a city have reserves in place?
Okay, well, I can answer the first question.
Okay.
On average, the 100-foot platform ladder is in the $900,000 to $1 million mark.
Okay.
But the life of them, when we look at purchasing something like this, we look at it for a 20-year lifespan. We're not looking at it for short term like your own private vehicle, that kind of stuff. This is a 20-year vehicle. One of the things in this particular one, and I don't know if the other models are like that, but with this one, I was talking to one of the fellows that was up with it, and he said, because this is all stainless steel, all the body and everything stainless steel on this one, after 20, 25 years, you could actually change out the pump and the chassis. He figured it'd be about $350,000 mark, and you get another 20 years on it. Right? And the pump is the big one. It's never the chassis or the truck. I mean, we've got engines in there right now that have like 13,000, 14,000 kilometers on them. They're going to time out, right, on us for duration. So it's never the truck, it's never the engine, it's the pump, right? The pump and the rest of the stuff on the truck. And according to him, you can send it to the factory, refit it after 20 years or 25 years and get another 25 years out of it.
Now, would it be $1 million layout? We were talking about
Initially?
financially.
Yeah, initially, I mean, that's something we'd have to discuss, and obviously, Cecile is the brains on that end of things. But yeah, I mean, that's the layout of it, and it's how we determine to finance it.
Right. And Dale and I have had some conversations, so when he gave me the good news story about getting the extended life because it's stainless steel, that will help us as well. And no, we do not have reserves expressed for a fire truck. We have, I think, $300,000 in capital reserves. When we come to you in the fall for the next 5-year plan, we're going to be coming with a recommendation to how to finance this. I'm going to tell you right up front that it's probably going to involve some borrowing.
Would the or is the regional district involved in purchasing these vehicles?
Do you want me to answer?
No, yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Okay, right now, we've got a contract with the regional district where we share operations costs. But in that contract, there's nothing about the capital. They supply their own equipment. We supply our own. Dale's been working with them, but right now it's still the same contract. And if we're following that contract, we would be supplying that truck. The city would be paying them. So the reason we brought it up today was to sort of give you guys a bit of the twitch that I've been feeling since he told me how much one of these costs. And we are going to be coming back to you probably in September or October. And we're going to have, between the two of us, we're going to be working on this and have a plan. Something that works well for the city and is sustainable. So we're going to be looking not just at 15 years, we're going to be looking at probably 70 years.
Well, and one of the other things we might have by September, October is we may have some kind of idea with regard to our service contract with the Rural Fire Protection District. Yeah. We may have some kind of idea at that point. I've been strongly recommending, suggesting that both sides should be sharing all the equipment. We'll see where that goes. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Well, just got one question to ask you. Mm-hmm. That house has a four-way stop.
Yes.
When is that coming down?
When's it coming down?
Yeah.
Maybe whenever we finish working on it.
Okay.
No, we've got a little bit more work to do in it yet. We've got, I figure we got about 1 or 2 more practice burns in it, and then we'll have it pretty much burned out inside.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go move to some ventilation, vertical ventilation practice with it, which means cutting some.
No, it's okay. I was just curious.
And then after that, I'll be coming to see Hal about knocking it down. We're not going to burn it down.
Oh, okay.
The reason why we're not going to burn it down is because I'm concerned about the power lines running right along the front of it. And in order to burn a building down, you have to let it burn hot. And I believe those lines are too close to be able to do that without probably burning them off. So
plus the asphalt roof wouldn't be popular to burn.
Well, no, and that would be if we were going to burn it down, we'd be taking that first. But I'm too concerned about proximity to the power lines there and stuff to burn that one. So.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't look very good. I've had a few comments about the house doesn't look very good. Well, that's because we've been burning it up on the inside. We've been doing it for over a month now. The guys got some fantastic training out of it, which is really good, and we don't give them any opportunities, so that's good. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just the bottom of the down arrow. Good evening, Council and Mayor. Okay, tonight I'm just here to update you on a few of the things that we're working on. The airport lighting upgrades, that was a $68,000 budgeted item. I can say today that we have let the contract out, and we are hoping that they will have the work completed in the month of July. And it looks like we're going to be coming in under budget on that one, which is a good news story for a change.
Who's doing the project?
Cartel. Yeah,
And they're
Cartel.
out of...
The South America? Medellin Cartel?
Colombia?
Cartel Radio Networks, not the cartel out of Colombia.
Okay.
Another thing that Hal had mentioned was the improvement to the wireless internet. We had set it up in the campground and found out it only reached halfway, so we are in the process right now of moving our wireless feed to the pole in the center of the campground. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest problems we're finding with it is that because it's in the building and at the level it's at, it's hitting the trailers, so the people in the next campsite behind them can't get the feed. So we're going to take it up in the air on the pole and try to blanket it from over above. And we're hoping that we can get that hopefully operational by the end of this week. We're going to know more on it tomorrow. Another program is the kitchen waste program, which, as you know, has been a huge success up in Belmar. The bins have been ordered, and we're planning to do a full distribution in September and kick the program off this October. And we'll be the first community in the West Kootenays to be doing it.
I can't wait.
And I've had a lot of comments from other communities, Castlegar and Nelson, people that I've talked to, that are quite interested in seeing how this is going because they're starting to look at it as well. Yeah. So it's a very popular thing. Another thing we've done was the conversion to our TELUS internet provider. We were with Shaw. Shaw has been continuously trying to bump our service up cost-wise. TELUS is our main feed into the where we have our server rooms at 525, and they're serving the school district. So by going with TELUS, we combine services and we can lower our costs on the overall equipment that has to go in there.
So you
we're
partnered
dealing
with-
with one, we're partnered with the school. So we're lowering our cost by doing that because we're not buying or doubling up on the equipment to have two different providers and splitting it out through different equipment.
So does that mean there's an opportunity for TELUS to televise our council meetings?
Possibly in the future. I have no idea how that would work. I haven't questioned that on that one yet. It's something we could ask about. Okay, next slide. So some of the new things that we're working with, this is some of the links that we're going to be tying to the city's website. Electro-recycling, these people were just in town. It's a new recycling program that is going province-wide. And we're going to be attaching a link and changing the front of the webpage a bit so that we put our recycling ahead of the garbage and take our recycling portion of the website out on its own. And then all the information in the link to this website will tell you exactly what you can and can't take in and show you the eco fees that will be charged to the local stores for that program. The West End Weather Station up at the Carson Fire Hall, we're hoping to have in the next month have that on the website as well with our weather channels. Potentially in the future, we'd like to link the airport weather station, the AWAS, as well. But we've got a few more things to get tidied up there before we propose that. And the Observation Mountain Weather Cam is now on the website. But at this time it's still buried, and I'm working with Diane and Wally to get that. I want to get them all under the one link under the weather and have the different headings. So the webcam itself every 15 minutes takes a snapshot of the valley so you can see what the actual cloud cover is, what the weather looks like coming in.
So just east, just west, or
It's looking from observation towards Danville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you can find it on the website right now. It's kind of buried a bit, but we'll fix that up here this week. Another project we're working on, as you know, the nephelometer is now here. Jordan Andrews is a summer student that's working for us. He took a trip to Victoria to UVic and was trained in the operation of the unit. During his tenure here, he will do a 12 weeks of field testing and studying, about 4 days a week on the road. And then we're planning 1 day a week in the farmer's market to set the unit up, explain to the public what it's doing, how it works, and he'll just have it set up there and they can come and talk. And while we're there, we plan to put out all the different things on our recycling programs and anything else that we can advertise in brochures and get the public aware of all the other programs we're doing locally.
It's also an opportunity to monitor that corner for the high
Well, every once a week
impact of
we'll have
motor
a
vehicles.
full reading of what the weather or what the air quality is in that area. And the last slide here, it's right now is just showing a typical map of where he goes every day. It's about an hour and a half loop, and every dot on there is where it takes a reading every 15 seconds. And when you go onto the program that he's got set up, you can actually click on the dot and it'll tell you exactly what the levels are. Up in the corner, you can see the dark blues are 0 to 0.452, which is extremely low. But of course, we've had really wet weather, so our readings have been low. So we're hoping after about a month we can kind of get an idea where our hot spots are. On this first day, we kind of found like Atwood Bridge. We're not quite sure what we found there that day. But now he's keeping an eye on the different houses to see if they're burning wood or what's going on. But right now, from this, what this is telling us is that most of the particulate in the air is farm dust. It's all on Carson Road. So once we get all the maps together, we'll be able to start to compile some data and then run it through the winter. And I've also got a good feedback from the Economic Development Committee. They're putting a large group of people together to train on this thing so we can work with
The Environment
throughout
Committee.
the Environment Committee to work with this thing throughout the winter.
Scared you off. Thanks, Lee. Thanks.
That's it.
Okay, so one of the major projects that we attempted to undertake, of course, was the hanging basket project that Council gave us $3,000 towards to develop some prototypes. And we did put out an RFP, and we gave 5 special invitations to known artisans that we had checked with from Gallery 2. And in addition to that, we also put an RFP into the paper and on our website in case we happen to miss some individuals. I did get some verbal interest, but unfortunately, when it closed on the 1st of June, we did not receive any formal invitations to participate. So we did find out that there was a couple of artisans that were extremely busy, and so it may have been something that might have been put on the back burner. So what we're thinking of doing is that perhaps this fall we're going to take and resubmit it and see maybe in a less busy season if we might get to take this with us. So we haven't given up on it. We're just going to be delayed a little bit. We're still working on the content management system for the city website. Our webmaster is working diligently. I gave him a tall order of things to do, and he said that he should be getting something to us by mid-late July, which will allow us to put the system, basically a web page agenda system that will allow council and public to access web-based information rather than PDFs. And it's also, of course, formulated to streamline all the information. We're doing a lot of repeat information onto all these forms, and we're going to attempt to get rid of a lot of this labor-intensive just to make things flow a little bit more efficiently and hopefully easier for everybody to locate information. We're continuing my training, of course, with Lynn, who is going to be leaving soon, and so when time allows, we sit down and try to train some more and learn some more about bylaws and policies and the things that I'm still a little scared to touch all by myself, but it's coming along, and so we're doing our best.
You'll do all right.
Thank you. And mine was very short and sweet. This is my last slide here, and this is just an overview on the other projects that were part of our financial plan. And as you can see, there was a lot of different items that we had done, and they're all complete. And the last one, of course, is the Poppy Fund, but we'll receive a letter from them this fall. And so all of our obligations as far as to the organizations that were in our financial plan. The scholarships, wasn't there 3? We Well, gave out there- 3. Yes, there were 3. What happened was in one of the prior years, they only put out 1, and so they'd have the option to hold a third one if they want. And so it just happened, the opportunity came around this year, so they did the third one, and that was just in their own holding place. But we only supply the 2 as council's wishes. So. That's it.
Yeah, I have to tell you that when we talked with the managers today and Diane, we really debated whether we should let her do that last slide because it's done.
Yeah.
The rest of us are saying
She's got to get a report.
So we figured she'd end up being the pet. Well, good job. So, unfortunately, Alex isn't here today, so please, if you have technical questions, we'll write them down. On the electrical side, these are the projects that we're on. We talked about at the budget, the voltage conversion, and that was completed. Pole upgrades, there's 6 out of the 20 poles have been replaced, and the recloser controls and metering is not yet started. It's still being planned to be done in 2012, and same with the transformer oil testing. Is it technical?
Well, it says 13 kV to 5K what?
Oh, it's supposed to be cut 5 kV.
So it's gone
Not
down?
bad. No, it's probably, its kV is different than the other.
Yeah.
That's the way he wrote it for me, so if you need an explanation, I will ask
I think the
Alice to tell
5 kV,
you.
untechnical as I am on electrical,
Yeah.
is more power than the 13
Then the
kV.
13 kV.
So they've upgraded the
It's a difference in the size of the V or something.
It's
Ask
better.
me about dollars.
It's better than
I can tell you that all of this is
Should be a
240,000
50
What's that?
50 kV maybe? Because that's kilovolts, right?
I will send you the email.
That
I
means
sent you.
1,000.
Yeah, we need
But
Alex.
I asked Wayne, I said, Wayne, how would you feel about presenting this in case somebody else? And he said, "Only fine."
No, it's not.
And now we're going to talk a little bit. Sasha's not here for the technical side of capital projects and planning, but we're going to. Wayne went out and took that picture today when it was sunny for about 5 minutes. Okay, so we've got the West End fire flow we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the river crossing, the lift station, the capital planning, and the multi-utility project components. You guys should be able to just give me that right off the top. We've talked about it so much. The emergency water supply, the surveys commence by the end of June. And then design tender and approvals, construction is to be completed by November 2012. The river crossing, we're still reviewing options. We're going to be bringing a report back late this summer. There's some decisions that we're going to have to make about what the best option would be to recommend for that. And the City Park lift station, somebody talked, was it you, Hal? Talked about this earlier. It's going to commence the end of June, completed by the end of August. When is it that we're not going to be able to access the washrooms? And
Right now.
right now, until this is all done. Right. Okay?
Good.
Now the multi-utility projects, we're about to do priorities for 2013. This is the one that we're borrowing the $4.2 million for. So these need to be defined, we're hoping by the end of September, to have a look at and go through it all. The 5th Street, I thought I took that out because that's double whammy. And then, because I just talked about that. The Highway 3 pedestrian crossing at the Trans-Canada Trail, we were in the process of obtaining a quote because we were going to work with MOT on this one. And they don't have enough in-house resources to do it. So we're going to look at a quote to see if we can still do it for the same amount as we would have with MOT. So we'll be coming back to you with that. So again,
It's weird. He must have doubled them up.
so the multi-utility project, I know you guys are familiar with this slide. This is when we're talking about the planning. So the planning, you have to plan for the roads, the sewer, the water, and the drainage, right? So if you think about all the things that we had put on the budget for planning, you have to look at all these options. So I just thought I'd put that back up there so everybody remembers. So, what the Sam heck is going on? That's another one. Anyways, we're going to complete the design. By the end of this year, we're hoping to, for the priorities, and this is the one where we've got a budget of $160,000 for, and still hoping to come in on budget. The CCTVing is the one that we've spoken to council about, and I'm going to be giving you a recommendation here in one of the next slides. This is the one I was on. We had budgeted $170,000, and we said we were going to look to see if there was any way to do it for less money. The stormwater master plan, we had budgeted $60,000. We've thought that we could probably defer this and have another look at it in 2013. And for now, because we're not starting the multi-utility projects until 2013, if we do have the ones that we designed this year, if we don't have the stormwater master plan, we can still look at the stormwater for the projects that we pick. But this is something that we'll still need doing, so we'll be coming back to you on that one. And the aquifer and nitrate evaluation and the wellhead protection plan, we had a budget of $170,000 for both of these. Sasha's still thinking we can do both of them for $100,000. She's working with a hydrologist, so we're going to save $70,000 there, we hope. This is going to be started in September and this one in August. Just hoping to have everything complete by November 30th. And this wastewater treatment plant energy and process audit is going to be done by the end of July. This is the one here where we had applied. This is $8,000 cost to the city. We have one grant, and we have another one that we have applied for. It was a planning grant. We haven't heard on that yet, so we could get this for nothing, hopefully. And then this asset management, we have $97,000 budget. It's been tight for resources, so we haven't done too much. We're hoping to have a team set up in September to start doing the full-scale planning. So the road system assessment is one of those that needs to be done. This one is going to be done between July 10th and 13th. And what it's going to do is identify capital and maintenance repairs, and it will cost the repairs and recommend priorities for repairing, including large and small projects. And that's a budget of $60,000, and Mike Trickey with Sim Engineering is doing it. And he's assured me we can do it for $60,000. And then this is the CCTV. So the sewer pipes, that's to establish the condition and priorities. Now 60% was done between 1998 and 2000. And 47% of that was in good condition, and 13% had advanced deterioration. So we would need to CCTV the remaining 40%, right? And we should CCTV this 13% just to confirm the priorities and see how bad they are. And he's got 60% here in 10 years, but I think the math is wrong. But saying redo the rest of them in 10 years' time and use the information that we have and go from there. He was telling me that a lot of our pipes are the vitreous clay, and that those last for 60 to 100 years. So there's no point. I mean, if you had all kinds of money, it would be nice to redo it all, but comfortable with doing that. Now, this is where when we came to you during the budget and we said we had a $160,000 budget, the feeling is that we can do this now for $100,000. Now, I came to you and said, this is monies that we're not going to spend until we have a recommendation. So tonight, I'm looking for a nod, because this has to be done before we can move on with the multi-utility priorities settings. So by the end of this presentation, I would like to get a nod from council to go ahead. I mean, we have the budget money, but we certainly don't want to spend it until you guys are comfortable spending it. Okay? So, for the water system, this is for the stormwater that I talked about briefly. This is what it would do. They're going to be talking with our operations guys and see where the areas are that have issues. And they're going to capture the roadside draining as part of the road condition assessment that I spoke about earlier, and recommend underground drainage pipes and stormwater flow assessments to be deferred to 2013. And that had a budget of 60, which we're not going to be spending this year. Okay, so we need to have the assessments to be completed by early August and integrate the overlapping needs by mid-August. And we're going to be looking at the multi-utility projects by urgency and location and identify these, and we're going to build a 4-year plan to move forward. So this is all still planned to be done by the end of 2012. So we're going to be producing a 4-year schedule, identify the cost-effective options. It might mean chunking stuff out all over town, because it's got to build some flexibility into the schedule to provide a mix of low and high dollar projects, so that we spend the monies that we have as wisely as possible. Okay, so these are the recommendations that we proceed with the CCTV. That's the $100,000 option. And we're going to defer the underground stormwater pipe inspections and build and approve the 4-year program and monitor the program. This is where I'd like that nod.
Oh, yeah.